Okay, so it's not just that we're seeing an increase in shoddy work or faulty materials.
No, look, in the case of the Southwest incident, which is rather spectacular. First of all, Boeing doesn't make the engines for their aircraft, nor do Airbus. That engine's made by CFM International, which is a joint venture between General Electric and Snecma of France. That's the first thing. The second thing is they are their engine cowlings, which are often lifted up, clipped open, so to do some maintenance work on them, maintenance work on them when the aircraft comes in. And what's probably happened here is a mechanic has not clipped it back correctly and sealed it correctly. And as soon as the aircraft started its takeoff roll with the airspeed has simply got in behind it and ripped it open. What we've seen is very scary and spectacular panels being torn off the engine. So when this is examined carefully, it'll probably be found that it was the Southwest mechanic who didn't clip those panels back. And we had an incident yesterday where another Boeing 737 MAX was diverted. And the reason it was diverted en route from A to B was that a pet, a doggy on board, decided to have a poop. And it was such a bad smell they had to divert the aircraft. So again, it's a Boeing aeroplane, it's United Airlines, it's in the news, but it's nothing to do with Boeing or United.
Goodness, okay. But for the nervous flyers out there, when these pieces fall off, I mean, obviously there are safeguards in place, right, to ensure that the plane can keep flying, that it's not a fatal outcome for all on board, or is it just that these passengers got lucky?
No, look. There are so many safeguards in aviation. For instance, the hydraulic systems. There's typically 3 or 4 braking systems. There's probably 2 or 3 or 4, depending on the model. It varies from type to type and whatnot. On the A380, for instance, the Qantas A380, there's about 5 hydraulic systems to control the aircraft, which is why that A380 out of Singapore that had the engine explosion was able to come and land safely. The safeguards in aviation are amazing. And if passengers were able to fly in the cockpit and see what goes on in the cockpit, they would be absolutely assured that they're going to get to their destination because of the systems, the cross-checking that goes on. So when something does go wrong, and it does from time to time, the training these pilots go through, the backup systems ensure that in virtually all cases there's a safe outcome. Flying has never been safer.
Okay, well, that's what we all wanted to hear. I'm glad that's your take on it, Geoff. I did want to get your view on the new frequent flyer program Qantas is rolling out in terms of how people can use their points. It's something that obviously affects a lot of our viewers. There are, I think, more than 15 million members to that program, which is an extraordinary number. What are the changes being implemented and how will it actually change how people can use their points?
Well, the current systems, there's the classic system, there's about 5 million seats are made available every year. The new Classic Plus, it's going to be an additional 20 million seats made available. However, there's a downside. So with the classic system, broadly speaking, when one of your frequent flyer points is worth about 3 cents in value. The new Classic Plus system, your points are either worth between 1 cent and 1.5 cents. In other words, you're going to pay a lot more points for that flexibility and for those additional seats. So there's pluses and minuses to it. Certainly, we'll welcome the additional seats. There's more availability. They release them much earlier as well, and they're released to all tiers, rather than sort of selectively releasing them. So there's a lot of upside to it, but at the same time, a redemption flight will cost you more for that flexibility and availability.
Okay, Geoff Thomas, always appreciate your analysis. Thanks so much.
It's a pleasure.